Hi, everybody. Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is a prequel to the Hunger Games original series. It's about the 10th Hunger Games, where Snow, future President Snow, is a mentor to Rachel Zegler's Lucy Gray Baird. Yeah, basically, as far as what I liked about the movie, overall, I thought the cast was pretty good. I liked Tom Blyth a lot as Coriolanus Snow. First thing I've seen him in, I didn't realize he wasn't actually blonde like that. I saw other pictures, and I'm like, oh, wow, they did a good job on his hair. Okay. I like Rachel Zegler. I'm a fan of hers as well. She's a good singer. I liked her in Shazam too. I haven't seen the West Side Story or anything else yet, but I like her. She seems like a nice actress. I know some people were upset about stuff she said about the Snow White movie coming out. I actually agreed with most of what she said. I wasn't upset at all. I really like Andrés Rivera as Sejanus. He was probably my favorite character in the movie. The only character who wasn't, one of the only characters who wasn't just a total piece of shit. Viola Davis, of course, always great as Dr. Wilhelmina Gall. Always good. Viola Davis, one of the greatest actors out there right now. Peter Dinklage, of course, always good as well. I really like Jason Schwartzman. I thought he did a good job as Lucky Flickerman. I liked Hunter Schafer as Tigress Snow, and also Sofia Sanchez as Wolfie. I thought she was really good. And it's always cool to see actors with Down syndrome in roles and stuff. So that was cool. I liked her. I thought she did a good job. Also the score by James Newton Howard, who has done a bunch of scores. The Fugitive. He did Batman Begins and The Dark Knight with Hans Zimmer. He works with M. Night Shyamalan a lot, and Francis Lawrence, who directed this. Cinematography by Joe Willems. He did Hard Candy, 30 Days a Night, Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Red Sparrow, both also directed by Francis Lawrence. I really liked when the rude girl, I forget her name, but the very mean, kind of bitchy, rude girl got stabbed in the neck with the bottle. That was fun. For a second, I thought we were going to do kind of a movie where all these, rich assholes get murdered in like super graphic ways. And I'm like, all right, I've seen that kind of movie before, but like, all right, I guess. That's not what this was, but I liked that at least. She was a very annoying character, so it's fun to watch her get her comeuppance. There's some very tense moments in this, very kind of edge of your seat kind of things, especially when Lucy is in the sort of duct, the thing that looks like an airplane engine, the turbine there. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be an air duct or something. But yeah, when she's in there and they're stabbing at her, trying to get her, and she's trying to close it and stuff. All of that was good. There were some other pretty good tense moments in there when her friend turns on her because he's got rabies, stuff like that. I like that. And there's a lot of decent setups and payoffs. Like the snakes, they set up earlier, like these snakes will attack you unless they're familiar with your scent. And then, Snow sticks in the handkerchief that he's used on Lucy, so it smells like her, so they don't attack her. That all works. And there's some other stuff like that where they set it up in the beginning and then they pay it off. They say if you cheat for your sponsors or whatever, your people, then you'll be punished for it, and all of that. I also like at the end they revealed that Peter Dinklage's character, who is Casca. High Bottom, reveals that he was trying to sort of sabotage the Hunger Games because he didn't like it. He said it as a joke, and then I think Snow's father ran with it, and now he's kind of stuck doing it. So he's intentionally kind of trying to run it into the ground. And Snow came along with his ideas and managed to make it popular again. As far as what I didn't like about the movie, as much as I like Rachel Zegler, and I have nothing personal against her or anything, I thought maybe just her character was a little annoying for me. She's just a little much. Like she comes in and she drops the snake on the girl and she's like, "That's for cheating on my boyfriend." I'm like, okay, I like that. That's an endearing quality. She sticks up for herself. She likes to mix it up a bit. But then they start singing and I'm just like, what is going on? It was so cringy and awkward because she's just like a cappella singing on stage with like some other people in the audience singing with her, and I'm just like, what is this? And like I was trying to like take it seriously, and I realized like the lyrics were decent enough and they were kind of evoking stuff, and then got these people crying and everything else, but I'm just sitting there going like, this is not working for me. What is this, a musical? What's going on? I did not sign up for this at all. I don't get it. And then like she meets Snow and she's like, "I'm gonna eat the flower," and I'm like, oh my god, girl, we get it, you're the main character, you don't have to be so extra all the time. Like calm down, dial it back a bit. And like when she's singing too, there's parts where she's singing and I realize she's supposed to convey emotion, but she's like making all these faces and everything else. It didn't help the weird TV was like blowing out her face and making it look weird. But I'm like, I get you're trying to convey you're playing to the back rows, but like this is a movie, not a play. You're not on Broadway. You don't have to do that. Like, what's going on? You're giving us 120%, man. Dial it back a little bit. Like, come on, that's enough. Same thing with Viola Davis. I mean, amazing actress. I hesitate to say anything about her, but Jesus, she is overdoing it. She is just swinging for the fucking rafters on this one, man. She is just going full ham, and that's cool. She looks like she's having fun, but she kind of seemed like a cartoon character at times. And Peter Dinklage too, who I like him. He's a good actor, but he does, I think, have a tendency to overact sometimes. And yeah, there was a bit for me too. It was so dramatic and so over dramatic and melodramatic that I'm just like, I don't know, all these moments that were supposed to be like, they're supposed to be very emotional and hit me just seemed like parody to me. I'm just watching it like I'm watching a Abrams Zucker movie or something. Like, what are you guys doing? I don't know. And as much as I really like the actress who played Wolfie, Sophia Sanchez, I just had conflicting thoughts, because as soon as you see her, I'm like, oh, well, that little girl's got Down syndrome. Like, she should not be in. I mean, nobody should be in the Hunger Games, but like, Jesus, that's crazy. And I guess it's to show sort of the ruthlessness and the brutalness of the Capitol or whatever, the brutality, and also the fact that they just pick people randomly. They don't have any exceptions. But I'm just watching, going like, okay, that little girl better live, because if she doesn't live, I'm gonna be very fucking pissed off. Because what are you doing here? So I was really hoping for a way that they would figure out to be like, oh, hey, Lucy's gonna save her. It's gonna come down to the two of them, and she's gonna refuse to kill this girl, and then they're gonna be like, oh, what do we do? But no, none of that happened at all. And Lucy really didn't have to make any tough decisions. People pointed this out about the first Hunger Games with Katniss, but yeah, she really didn't have to kill anyone. She accidentally killed that one little girl, but honestly, she could have saved that girl. Like, she was safe in that turbine or whatever. So if she could see her, I'm pretty sure she could have just called out, "Hey, don't drink that, it's poison." And that would have been, or she could have literally walked out, because those people weren't bothering her anymore. They had left. She could have just walked out and been like, "Hey, don't drink that, it's poison." She didn't, because they needed a reason for her to feel guilty. I don't know. She also could have avoided falling out of that shaft when she sprinkled the rat poison on the people. She could have just walked away, went somewhere else, moved, not stayed directly above the vent where they can clearly see where she's sitting. Okay. She could have went back down underground after her friend with the rabies died or whatever. I don't even remember what happened, but I don't know why she didn't just go back underground. I mean, it wouldn't have been as interesting to watch it as a movie, but like, she easily could have. No reason not to. I also I didn't like, because I'm watching the movie, I'm getting kind of invested. Like, okay, we got Wovie here, we got this Reaper guy, we got the little girl that he's trying to protect. So look, what's going on? And then, oh, the little girl gets poisoned, and it's Lucy's fault. Like, oh God, what's going to happen now when she has to confront Reaper about that, because he was trying to protect her? No, nothing at all. It's just like they were like, dude, we got to get moving, man. We got third act coming up. Fuck it. Just drop some snakes on him, and the snakes will kill everybody. Yeah, there we go. Deus Machina snakes. Why not? Yeah. So this Reaper guy, I was like really looking forward to seeing him like do some shit, and like, no, he just got taken over by snakes. Same thing with Wovie. Same thing with pretty much all of the threats that were remaining. They were just like, hey guys, we got a schedule to keep. Drop these snakes. Let's go. Keep moving. Come on. And speaking of the snakes, yeah, there's some bad CGI. Those snakes look terrible. And I mean, obviously you're not going to put real snakes in a thing, but like, a really bad CGI for a big, blockbuster movie they released in theaters. I can't believe how bad those snakes were. There's also an explosion that's not bad. At the beginning, I'm like, oh, this isn't very good, but they made it work. It was okay. But yeah, those snakes just look terrible. I also don't really get the retrofuturistic look. I dig retrofuturistic stuff. I think it's really cool, but they did it in the first movie too, where they've got, CRT TVs and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, so I realized at some point there was some kind of post-apocalyptic nuclear holocaust or something, but like, why would they go back to cathode ray tubes? Like, they still know about liquid crystal displays and lithium displays and stuff. Like, why are they doing this? Why did the recording device look like it was from the 1950s? Like, I don't I don't understand. And again, I realize it looks cool, and I normally like that look, but it just, for me, story-wise, didn't really make a lot of sense. I didn't think the love story between Snow and Lucy really worked at all. I don't know why she was attracted to him. I don't know what he did to make her like him or trust him. I also think it's funny they kept pointing out like, oh, look at this pretty boy. Look at how pretty this guy is. I'm like, I don't want to call the guy ugly, but I don't think I would be like, oh my God, that guy's so pretty. I would be like, wow, that guy's albino. Is he albino? Was it that the albino guy? Hey, albino guy. Maybe you're not supposed to say that. I don't know. He looks like he's pigmentally challenged. I don't know. Or it's hey, that blonde guy. I certainly be like, oh, that really pretty guy. I don't know, just weird for me. And I don't like the character of Snow. I think part of it was just that like they chose to focus on Snow a lot instead of focusing on Lucy or any of the other tributes from any other districts. It's just all about Snow, and I'm like, okay, that could be interesting, but like they didn't really. They do a lot of this. They did it with like Maleficent and Wicked, where they take this villain and they try to make them more sympathetic. But for me, I didn't feel any sympathy for Snow. What? Because he used to be rich and now he's not. Okay, I mean, it's not like he was a particularly nice guy beforehand. It's not like something tragic happened to him to make him a terrible person. It sounds like he was just always kind of a terrible person. It was born into a bad situation, but still, like, I don't know. So yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like they focused so much on Snow as opposed to focusing on the other characters. I didn't like the Snow puns either. Like, oh, looks like Snow is finally falling. Oh, Snow always lands on top. Blah blah blah. I don't know where it's just I get it. His name is Snow, but like it is just so fucking lame to me. Like I did not like that at all. Movie is way too long. It's 2 hours and 38 minutes, and it did not like I thought the movie was over when the Hunger Games ended, and then it's like part 3, and you're like, there's more? There's more to this fucking movie? Like seriously? I don't. Yeah, I don't. And the third act was long and boring, and I didn't really care for. I do like Sejanus. He was a cool character. But then he gets murdered, so because of Snow. So I did say spoilers, right? Okay, well, this is spoilers. So I think it's also a little bit that it wasn't what I expected. I did watch the first trailer for this, but I didn't really pay attention. I wasn't like, for whatever reason, I thought this was about the first Hunger Games. I think it's because Flickerman there says like, oh, the first ever hosted the Hunger Games. So I'm like, okay, but no, this is the 10th Hunger Games. So they've had others before this. Okay. And then in my head, for whatever reason, I thought Snow participated in the games, like he was an actual tribute and not a mentor. Which to me, I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. This guy, he was in the first Hunger Games. I assume won the first Hunger Games and now went on to become the president. Like, that's interesting. Okay. But no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not the story at all. So I'm like, okay, all right, that's weird. And they do kind of figure out a way to get him in there. So he does have to kill someone and he does this thing, but I'm like, okay, I don't know. Maybe that would have been a more interesting movie, or just I guess I didn't really want a movie about Snow, or if I did, I wanted a better movie about Snow. Maybe I don't know. So other than that, it's directed by Francis Lawrence. He did all of the other Hunger Games except the first one, and he also did I Am Legend and Red Sparrow. It was written by Michael Lesslie and Michael Arndt. Michael Lesslie wrote Assassin's Creed and Macbeth, two very mediocre movies. I don't know why they would hire him for this, but okay. And Michael Arndt wrote Hunger Games: Catching Fire, one of the worst of the originals. Star Wars: The Force Awakens, a movie that is reviled by all. A Little Miss Sunshine and Toy Story 3, which are actually very well regarded. And I'm sure that's why he did Little Miss Sunshine first. I think he got Toy Story 3 out of that and has moved on. But yeah. It's also based on a book called The Ballad of Songbirds Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I will say I read all of the original Hunger Games books. I took a class in college where we talked about the first one. It was right around the time the second movie was coming out. So I read the first 3 books and I saw the first 2 movies. I didn't see the third or fourth movies because I didn't really care at that point. And I didn't like the third book that much. But yeah, I did like those books and I thought they were interesting. And I was curious to see more from this world. I was really rooting for this movie. And I was kind of disappointed by it. Budget on it's $100 million, so relatively low compared to say the Marvels, which was 274 million. Box office so far it's made about 98 million, 44 million domestic and the rest overseas. So again, about the same opening as the Marvels, but it cost a third as much or at least half as much. So, and it looks like they also had some kind of production deal going where they got credits from wherever they filmed. So the movie is probably going to make money. It's going to be fine there. I don't know if this is going to spawn, a whole other series of Hunger Game movies if it's not successful, but they're not going to lose too much on it, it sounds like. Rotten Tomatoes on this one, critics are at 62% and the audience is at 91%. So kind of, again, a similar thing to the Marvels, where, critics don't like it as much as the audience. But when I first checked, the audience was at 85. And I figured, well, that'd probably go down because the diehards see it first. But it went up to 91. And okay. I don't know what people liked about this so much. I think part of it was just that there was so much potential here, and maybe it's just it wasn't what I expected. I do think it's funny, again, comparing it to the Marvels, where there is a song and dance scene in that I thought was fun. I actually liked it, and I thought it was fun. And all of the songs in this I thought were kind of bad. I like the Hanging Tree one, which I think was from the original movies, and like maybe one other song, but most of them I just didn't like. And I like Americana. I like that kind of music. I like folk music. But for whatever reason, they just did not work for me. And I was trying. I was really like, the lyrics, I think, were kind of evocative of their situation and trying to. I remember the first time she sang, I'm like, oh, she's doing a thing where they're being censored, so she's singing a song to kind of talk about their troubles. And then like the next song she sings just about a guy who cheated on her, and I'm like, well, what are we doing here? What's going on? I don't. So yeah. So I think really for me the issue was that it's just not a good movie. It's just, I wanted it to be good. I think there are good things there. I think it's actually a competently made movie. I wasn't very interested in it. And I thought some of the performances were over the top, and I didn't like Snow as a character. I didn't like the musical aspect to it. So yeah. I almost want to give this a 5. But I do think it's better made than that. So I think it deserves a 6, but I can't go any higher than that. This movie kind of sucked, dude. So yeah, that's my score, 6 out of 10. But if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.